Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another version of the Best of Branded Content. We're doing the lightning rounds all week. Today, from our wonderful sponsors at Social News Desk, we have three very special guest stars. We've got Peter Lamb from Lamb Consulting, we've got Lenora Howes from the Afro, and we've got Vita Ridgway from the Afro. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Good to be here. Good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you, guys. And we've all been working together closely on the Branded Content Project. Peter's been leading the charge with the group of 5 organizations. So Peter, why don't you jump in first and kind of set the scene a little bit about why branded content's been so important.
You have so many options right now during COVID in terms of products. What was the motivation? What was the fascination that made you devote so much time and energy specifically into branded content? I mean, I'm curious. I think I know a little bit of the answer, but I'm curious as to your perspective, especially looking back a couple of months.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. That's really a great question because you're right. You know, when we dig into our bag of tricks, there's so many things that we have to offer to our advertisers and our business partners. But the reason why branded content appealed to the Afro, particularly in this climate, was because we recognize that our business partners, our advertisers, were looking to do more than just run an ad, whether that be in print or on the web or social media. They really wanted to get their message out in a way that didn't seem self-serving and that could be presented in a trusted environment. And so when you came to us and to the team about branded content as an avenue to pursue, it just seemed like it was the right answer at the right time.
When you looked, Vita and Laura, when you looked at branded content as a strategy,
Mm-hmm.
where did you identify the upside? Did you think about it as a great revenue opportunity, like you said? Was it audience? Was it both? I mean, how did you think through the positives of what a branded content strategy would mean to the Afro?
Well, at the time that I got involved with the whole opportunity, I thought that it was great timing. And like Lenora said, it was kind of about turning lemons into lemonade with regard to the climate that we're in right now in terms of what is happening with COVID and even, you know, politically in terms of like the fight for justice. And I think that brands are looking for an opportunity to basically work with publications or other media platforms to not only, like Lenora said, advertise their products, but also really connect with consumers on a emotional level to let consumers know that they have their support, whether it is in terms of dealing with COVID and best practices and how a person would go about still conducting their business with that brand in a way that lets the consumers know that the brand is taking steps and precautions to care about you and you know, serve you in the way that where everyone is going to be protected. And it's harder to do that with just a regular ad. So I think that it was a great opportunity to work with publications to really strategize and come up with a message that really conveyed the whole picture.
I think, Juliet, that's a great answer, Vita. It's a perfect time to switch to some of the examples, because that really shows exactly what both of you just talked about. So Lenora, this is, you know, business and wealth. I love it. It's all your floor is all yours.
Well, thank you. So I want to give props where props are due. And Peter came to us with this idea of business helping business. And it was around the time, probably in the early days, what we thought would be the short-lived days of,
Yeah.
of our world's changing, and said, listen, you know, there are businesses that are finding it very difficult to survive during this. Some may not. And then on the other hand, there are businesses and corporations who are going to do well, if not better, as a result of this. And let's find a way that we can allow these businesses to help the allow these larger businesses to help the smaller ones who are shuttered or really in trouble. And so we went to several of our partners and to appeal to their sense of community, their sense of support. And we went to them with the opportunity to not only place an ad in print, online, in social, but to also submit an article, the branded content, where people would get to hear their story and what they're doing for the community and for small businesses to help them stay alive. And so Baltimore Gas and Electric, otherwise known here as BGE, was one of our major sponsors. And the interesting thing is also, we did not, and Peter, you and I talked about this, we didn't put together this real flashy sales presentation for this because we really wanted it to be a heartfelt, like, just plea, like, the community needs your help, these small businesses need your help. And so from the publisher on down to the sales team, we sent out emails to some of our, large partners in the area, asking them to do this. And so we got a tremendous response from BGE. And then if you move up, you can see the page of the small businesses they supported. The other sponsor you see on that page is Kelly Payroll Services. So it was just really a good opportunity to let these businesses allow them to let the community know how they're supporting them. The other example that we have here is from Care First, nationally known healthcare insurance agency, and their response was like, yes, we want to be a part of this. We want to be featured sort of as the experts on how we should be responding to coronavirus. And so we did their article. It started on our main page, and then they too had their logo in the header to support the small businesses that were featured that week. So it was just all in all a really good effort, and it was a win-win-win. Win for the sponsors, win for the small businesses, and win for the Afro in additional revenue.
Every time I look at that, I'm amazed. How did you navigate, and that's the key word I think for me, the editorial folks and the advertising folks working together? Was it easy, hard? Did you smack them around? How did it work?
Oh, we smack them around now. I'm only kidding. Well, the good thing that I can say about the Afro is that we're a small team to begin with, and people wear multiple hats. And we learned a few years ago that hard line between editorial and sales had to start blurring, if not completely going away. I've been in this business for more decades than I probably want to tell right now. And I've seen that wall come down. So it did make it a little easier, certainly from the management perspective. It took a little more explaining, I will say, to the writers. Like, okay, so now what's this now? So are they writing the article? Or are we writing the article? Are we doing it together? So that took a little bit more explaining, but no resistance at all.
Mm-hmm.
Vida, any thoughts on church and state?
Well, I think that as long as the message is aligned and that you're telling the story that editorial wants to tell, and that it works well. So if it was something that, editorial wouldn't normally report about anyway, then there might be more pushback. But these are, topics that are, that's important information for everybody. And so I don't think that it causes any problem when it can only enhance the editorial to a large degree, I believe, if you have advertisers who are supporting your vision and willing to come in and have their message, be conveyed within the scope of, what you're already talking about. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I think, Julie, we have one more example. Do we have?
Yeah, Lenora,
a very interesting anniversary conversation. I think I'll be curious to talk about. Lenora, tee it up. It's all yours.
Yeah, very interesting indeed, these times that we are in and how these times have sort of presented these opportunities. And so starting certainly before George Floyd, but with George Floyd's murder, the whole subject of Black Lives Matter and social justice and racial inequalities, of course, that was all amplified. And the Afro, being the Afro, really took the lead in terms of building a case for support, not only from our readers, but from our advertising partners. And so to go back to the point that Vita just made about the content, when the content is relevant on both sides, it really is a win-win. And so this was subject matter that really, got to the hearts of the sponsors that we went to. And we, in our ask of them, was really to stand in solidarity with us. It was not even, will you run an ad? Will you be a sponsor? Will you stand in solidarity with the message, with the content? And so it's a two-part series that began on July 4th, with it being Independence Day for most. And so, and we called the series Black Lives Matter, We're Still Here. The next edition publishes on August 15th, and that is in conjunction with the Afro's 128th anniversary. We've been around for 128 years, and that will focus more on getting out the vote and the importance of the vote. And so this is just an example of our cover, which was a rendering from a local artist, and then a few of the sponsors that said, yes, we'll stand in solidarity with you, and who were in agreement with the content. So you see a few of them represented on these pages.
I think my last question, Vita and Lenore, is, I mean, you've done two fascinating initiatives. You did a fascinating initiative with your anniversary. What lessons did you learn? What advice could you give to the folks listening? How to approach a branded content initiative? What the pitfalls are? What to avoid? Any good aha moments you had over the last couple of months doing this?
For us, the biggest takeaway and lesson learned was really an internal one, in that this is really the way, not just of the future, but the way of now, where we are looking at being more collaborative with our business partners and being able to integrate their message into ours. So I think that was the biggest lesson and takeaway that I would really encourage all of the publications watching this to make sure that that is an understood culture, that it's part of your culture, it's part of your language, that we are collaborating. We're not just going after ad sales, we are collaborating with these businesses. And then helping to educate our business partners on how this works and why this is different than just placing an ad. So those would be, from my perspective, the biggest takeaways and lessons. Vita, what about you?
I would agree 100% with what you just said, as well as add that in that, although we have, we initially go in with some ideas about what we want to do and how we think it can work, I also think that it is very important to really listen to what the goals and the objectives or the pain points are of the advertiser, and try, when you're having those meetings, to be more customer focused versus product focused, because then you can actually hear what they are trying to achieve and what they want, and kind of figure out how you can fit that into your program. So for instance, with the We're Still Here campaign, and then we also talked about, the whole, COVID and opening in DC, and we put together a program that kind of married the two, and we were pitching that, or our idea was to pitch that to consumers, and we had a meeting with Nissan, for instance, and we did not present the presentation because we wanted to first listen and hear. And so when we did that, we were able to dive deep into hearing exactly what their initiatives were, what kind of things they wanted to align with. And then, so we were able to go back and pitch our kind of idea, our original concept, but then tailor it specifically to what they said that they wanted and they needed in their timeline and all of that. So by not just trying to push solely what our idea is and being rigid with regard to the overall idea, timelines and stuff like that. If you're customer focused, then you can get to the money, basically.
I love it. That's a good place to stop right there.
Get to the money.
Guys, honestly, thank you so much for truly sharing all of these details and really, you know, sharing your expertise and all that you've learned and the success that you guys are seeing. So we just honestly appreciate all that we've learned from watching you guys and all the incredible initiatives you guys have been rolling out. Just honestly, truly appreciate all that you're able to share. And we're learning so much from all of you guys.
Well, thank you. We appreciate all of the support and guidance that come from both of you. So thank you. Thank you. It's a great partnership.
Yes.
As long as we're thanking people, I'm going to thank a whole lot of people. So, you know, we know you thank the founders of the Branded Content Project. That'd be LMA, LMC, and the Facebook Journalism Project. Our sponsor for this series is Social News Desk. Of course, the full team at the Afro. And thank you to Peter Lamb for being our guide through all of these pieces and really helping educate our sales teams on the best way to position and sell branded content and sponsorship. So thank you to everybody.